So that's what I wanted to ask you too, because a game the other night between the Laces and Vinyl canceled due to prioritizing player health and safety. After I got out of the comments, because good Lord, Nafisa, I don't know if you've ever gone to the comments after a simple explanation of the game has been postponed or canceled. People were fighting about, they don't owe us an explanation. It was an amazing thing to go witness. But you only have 6 players on a roster. Is there a way to tweak that so that something like this doesn't occur again?
Yeah, I think we might go to some more players. It's crazy because we originally had 5 players per team. And then we exceeded our financial expectations. We were able to have that 6th player. But again, we are making this up as we go, and we can see now in practice that maybe we need a couple more roster spots. So that might be something we look to change in the future.
Whether it's the penetration, getting in the post, pounding the paint, offensive rebounds, they do.
Shooting very efficiently, 11 of 17, has hit some threes as Reese. Could not make it in. Reese gets the hands in, a little revenge on Martin. Shovel it, hole, 3, bottom.
What makes this Kendra so unprecedented for players?
Well, Malika, the thing is, this league has been described to me as one that is founded by players and built for players. Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, they created this, and they wanted to fill the voids that they saw in women's basketball. It's so common for WNBA players to go play.
It's only been around 25 plus years, so I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important, and that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my...
When Caitlin Clark turned down a staggering $1 million offer from the unrivaled league, the sports world was stunned. Everyone assumed she would jump at the chance. After all, who wouldn't? But Caitlin's decision wasn't about the money. It was about something far more significant: her future, the future of the WNBA, and the sustainability of women's basketball as a whole. But why did she say no to one of the most lucrative contracts in sports? Let's explore what led to her controversial decision and why, in hindsight, it might be the most strategic move she could have made. Unrivaled was marketed as the league that would revolutionize women's basketball. Built by WNBA stars like Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, its purpose was clear: to provide a domestic, high-paying platform for women to play competitive basketball during the winter months. With salaries and opportunities that rivaled top international leagues, it promised a game-changing shift. For players who spent their off-seasons playing overseas, the league offered a chance to stay in the US, play at a high level, and be compensated more fairly. Fans were buzzing with anticipation. Could this be the catalyst that propelled women's basketball into the mainstream? Could it finally give women athletes the recognition and respect they deserved? The excitement was palpable as the league was launched, with expectations that Unrivaled could rival the popularity of the WNBA. The thought of an exclusive league dedicated solely to showcasing top-tier women's talent was thrilling. And yet, one player's absence, Caitlin Clark's, would set off a chain reaction that none of us saw coming. Caitlin Clark's rookie season in the WNBA didn't just turn heads, it shattered expectations. From her debut, she was undeniable, averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. She redefined what it meant to be a rookie. But stats alone don't tell the whole story. Caitlin brought energy and charisma to the court, electrifying fans in a way that hasn't been seen in women's basketball for years. She turned the Indiana Fever into a must-watch team, with every game feeling like a spectacle. Her talent wasn't just seen by her team or her fans. She quickly became a household name, and even the NBA couldn't ignore her. The impact Caitlin had on viewership was undeniable. Games featuring Caitlin saw a surge in ratings, drawing more eyes to the WNBA than ever before. Her personality, skill, and work ethic set her apart. In a league that had been traditionally underrepresented, Caitlin was not just a player. She was the future of women's basketball. The expectations for Unrivaled to feature her were high. Caitlin was supposed to be the player to lead this new league into the spotlight. But as we all know, she made a decision that left many fans scratching their heads. Caitlin Clark was offered $1 million to join Unrivaled, a sum that would have made her one of the highest-paid women's basketball players for just a few months of play. It seemed like a no-brainer, especially given her stardom. But Caitlin made a decision that surprised everyone. She turned the offer down. She said she needed rest. On the surface, It seemed like a missed opportunity for a young athlete to make a fortune. But Caitlyn's reasoning wasn't as simple as taking a break. At the time, the decision seemed like a personal one. After all, who would pass up that much money for rest? But Caitlyn wasn't just thinking about the immediate payoff. She was thinking long-term. The fast-paced, high-contact nature of Unrivaled's 3-on-3 format wasn't just exhausting. It was a recipe for injury. And Caitlyn knew this. The reality was clear. There was too much at stake for her to risk her health for short-term gain. Instead, she chose to prioritize her longevity, both for her career and for the broader landscape of women's basketball. Caitlyn's decision wasn't just about her health. It was a strategic move that recognized the challenges facing women's basketball. Unrivaled's format may have seemed exciting at first, but there was a major flaw. The league only had 6 players per team. This small roster size meant that even minor injuries could have catastrophic consequences for teams, and the relentless pace of play left no room for recovery. Caitlyn, being a highly skilled player, understood that pushing herself to the limit in a league like this would likely lead to injury. It wasn't just about the risk of injury for Caitlyn. She knew this league could be damaging to the sustainability of women's basketball. As one of the most marketable athletes in the sport, she understood that her brand and her future career were worth far more than a single season of play in a league that didn't have the depth or structure to last. By saying no to Unrivaled, Caitlyn wasn't just protecting herself. She was making a statement about the need for long-term, sustainable growth in women's sports. Without Caitlyn, Unrivaled faced a devastating blow. The league had been built around her star power, and without her, viewership and fan engagement began to drop rapidly. Injuries piled up, and the small roster size made it impossible for teams to manage the strain. Key players like Alyssa Thomas and Tiffany Hayes were sidelined, and with only 6 players per team, every injury compounded the league's problems. Fans who had been eager to watch Caitlyn and other top-tier athletes found themselves disappointed by the lack of action and the struggling quality of play. Within weeks, ratings dropped by more than 50%, a clear indication that Unrivaled wasn't just losing star power, it was losing credibility. As the league faced these setbacks, Caitlyn's decision to sit out seemed to prove one thing. Without the star power of a player like Caitlyn, the league couldn't compete with established sports like the NBA or NFL. While Unrivaled floundered, Caitlyn's decision to stay with the WNBA made her an even more valuable asset. The WNBA, despite its own challenges, needed its stars to build and maintain momentum. Caitlyn's star power was undeniable, and her loyalty to the WNBA helped draw attention back to the league. This wasn't just a personal choice for Caitlyn. It was a decision that reflected her understanding of the long-term needs of the sport. Caitlyn understood that the WNBA, with its established history and structure, was where women's basketball could truly thrive. Her choice to stay with the league ensured that she could continue to push for higher salaries, better marketing, and more opportunities for women athletes. Caitlyn wasn't just a player. She was a leader, setting the stage for a stronger future in women's basketball. Caitlyn's decisions have always been about more than just basketball. They've been about leveraging her influence to shape the future of the sport. By turning down Unrivaled, Caitlyn demonstrated that she understands the delicate balance between short-term rewards and long-term sustainability. She's not just building her own brand, she's building the future of women's sports. While some might have criticized her for turning down a lucrative contract, Caitlyn knew that her long-term health and the health of the sport were far more important. She's chosen to remain a key player in the WNBA, helping to push for better conditions for all athletes. This decision has far-reaching consequences that extend well beyond her own career. Caitlin Clark's decision to pass on the $1 million offer from Unrivaled wasn't just a personal choice. It was a game-changing move for the future of women's basketball. By prioritizing her health, her future career, and the sustainability of the sport, Caitlin has set a new standard for how athletes approach their careers. Her decision may have shocked the sports world, but in the end, it was a vision for a stronger, more unified women's basketball community. As the WNBA continues to grow, Caitlin's leadership will have a lasting impact. What do you think? Was Caitlin's decision the right one? Or did it leave Unrivaled with no chance of survival? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insight into the world of women's basketball.
See you next time.